Welcome to a Brief History Conspiracy. So, yeah, the sun has a cycle. We've recorded that cycle, we see it now. So, to say that there could be like a 12,000 year cycle that we're not currently aware of, it's possible.
It is very possible, because the observation period is that long that no individual human would ever be able to observe it.
Well, exactly.
And therefore it would only be able to observe it.
And if you do see it, you go, oh, look at
generations.
that. Dead.
Yes.
So
we keep. I mean, the other alternative, I suppose, you've got is that it was an asteroid impact that occurred at the start of the Younger Dryas and keeps occurring every 12,000 years or so.
Yeah.
But then
like
you've got to
believe
that we're passing through the same asteroid. Or passing near to the same cluster of asteroids that
every 12,000
years that then give different varying degrees of asteroid impacts depending on what we pull in when we go through. That seems plausible to me, but
it's still that temperature increase which I don't follow.
No.
I have to ask, did our ancient ancestors know this? The Hopi tribe.
I believe
they say that we're in the 5th stage of man or something, don't they? And that works depending on how old you think humanity is. If we were in the 5th age of man, that would be 60 to 70,000 years we'd be talking about. And some
12,000 year cycles, are they? Yeah, the ages of man.
I don't think they've got an age, but if you assume that that is related to this 12,000 year cycle, then that's a number you could sort of come up with.
Yeah, okay.
Some estimates for humanity, modern man is about 70,000 years old. Some estimates go quite a lot higher. But
I tend to go along with the higher estimates because Brian Cox in Wonders of the Universe states that the humans have the current brain capacity or brain volume, and we've had that for the last 250,000 years. So 250,000 years ago, the average man was just as intelligent then as we are now.
Well, that's when the Anunnaki
or capable.
Yeah.
Capable.
Wasn't it 50,000 years?
No, 250,000 years ago.
Well, there you go.
250,000 years we've existed with our current brain capacity as Homo sapiens sapiens.
Yeah, so that means, I mean, if that's even remotely right, that means we've had the current ability and potentially technical ability for 255,000 years more than we've got recorded history. So we did nothing for 245,000 years, and then we all of a sudden went, you know what would be good? Writing stuff down.
And let's farm some crops. Let's not go looking for the crops. Let's grow them ourselves.
Yeah, we keep wandering around after these lions. You know what we could do? Let's get a pig and tie it down. Let's do that. You know, it's like, no, we didn't. That's nonsense, isn't it?
It is.
So the Hopi tribe have got this thing anyway, and that might just be as far back as their history goes. But you know, their history but that means they're going back about 70,000 years. They knew this had been going on for,
which is quite a good historical record compared to our current 10, at best.
We go back 8,000 years and we're struggling.
Yeah,
we go back 2,000 years and we're struggling. I was having an argument with a guy last week about whether Jesus existed or not, and he said, "Oh no, it didn't." And I'm like, I think Jesus did exist, but actually, if you look at it, there's some historical evidence, there's some this, that, and the other, but really, the historical evidence is so shit. Pardon my French, I'll beep that out.
Yeah, so poor.
It's so poor that we don't know for certain.
No.
If you have a standard of historical evidence, we don't know for certain.
Yeah.
To go back,
it's
70,000 years. We've got no clue.
No, not at all, not at all. And that's why it's all mythology and none of it's actually known, because we just can't. But that makes sense if there was a major cataclysm about 12,000 years ago that wiped us out to nearly 20,000 people, and the only thing that was left were the stories of the major cataclysm and the stories of the times before the major cataclysm.
It's something you'd mention to your children.
It is.
And it is a story that would continue.
And all world religions are prevalent with the with catastrophic events in their pasts. So it does seem to me that all of the religions sort of point to this catastrophic nature of events occurring on this planet.
And you could say as well that our early ancestors were obsessed with this. Derinkuyu.
Yeah.
Is thing.
Yeah.
This is an underground city that was built potentially around this time, potentially much older. 18 stories deep. This thing goes. There's hundreds of rooms. They think there could have been 20,000 people living in Derinkuyu at its height. And it still exists today. It was built well enough to exist today. Why build underground that way? Why build a massive underground city unless you're hiding from something?
You're scared. Yeah, unless you're scared of what's coming from above.
Yeah.
It's the only reason you build a big underground city rather than building it. If you look at what we do today, we tend to build on top of the surface. Primarily.
Unless you want to hide it for some reason.
Unless you're actually trying to hide something.
Yeah.
So there's either two schools of thought, I suppose. So either the place like Derinkuyu was built to try and hide their people and their and their what's the word? Their cattle, their pigs.
Yeah.
You know, they were trying to hide their entire civilization from a rival civilization that was warring with them and was trying to invade and occupy them. That's one theory. Yeah,
but the thing is that for me, I've never really followed that one because constructing this site would take years and years and years.
Yes.
So they'd have had to have been. I'd have thought if they were that afraid of the enemy would have overtook them before they had a chance to actually build it.
They wouldn't have had a chance to build the city before they'd been run over, by the opposition. Yeah.
So I've never really quite followed that.
No.
I always think they were hiding. And there was so much effort, like ventilation. And there's rooms for everything. I mean,
was it?
They lived
10 stories deep with ventilation shafts.
18.
18 stories deep with ventilation shafts. There you go. And that's an extraordinary engineering feat that people would be proud of today.
Some of it was natural. They reckon there was sort of volcanic tunnelling and stuff. So they took advantage of the location. Okay. But then there was, but then a bulk of it was dug. There was another city reasonably close to it that they then had a connecting tunnel to, which is, I think it's about a mile long or something, which is, again, that alone is a massive feat of engineering.
Yeah.
You have to say, why? What were they hiding from? Unless they had just lived through, or were continuing to live through, because we're also assuming this cycle of this thing would be one event, like a massive bang. It might not be. It might be like a bang, 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 like an earthquake. You have like pre-shocks, and then a big event, and then aftershocks. It might be that type of thing. They might have still been living through it.
Possibly, yeah.
Maybe not as intense as I think 2 events that caused the Younger Dryas, Pulse Water A and Pulse Water B. I think there was 2 very large events. But there could have been repeated ones. We don't know. That's the point. We don't know. This could have gone on for hundreds of years.
Yeah, completely.
And then you have to think about they would be hiding from it. And if this happened again, that is the only people that are going to survive this.
Yeah, people that are prepared to go and live underground for a while.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, if there's an extreme sun cycle activity that we don't even know anything about that causes 10-degree temperature spikes and 300 feet sea level rises almost instantaneously.
It's worldwide devastation.
Yeah, you need to have an underground cave system to protect you from the sun.
Yeah.
But you also need to be in a high enough landmass that you're not going to get flooded.
Or I think you need to be protected from the radiation as well. So you need to be reasonably deep.
Yeah.
But you've got other sites as well. This is my point as well. There's hundreds, potentially even thousands of these underground cities. And God knows how many others we haven't found or been collapsed or whatever.
Yeah.
There's another one called Nouris in France. 2 miles worth of tunnels, 300 excavated rooms. 2 miles of tunnels. Again, 20,000 people live there at its height. It's insane. Petra.
Yeah.
Goes 130 feet into the mountain. Why? Why were they so obsessed in carving out this building, whatever, out of solid rock? Unless they were trying to protect or hide from...
Also, with some of these ancient cultures that did build some of these magnificent structures and or carve things out of mountains, would you really expend the entire resources of your entire civilization building these things?
Unless you absolutely had to.
Unless you absolutely had to. Or did they have technologies that we perhaps lost that meant that building these things was a lot easier than we think it was.
I just think about building Derinkuyu now, and it would be a massive engineering feat.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, look at Eurotunnel.
Yes.
How long it took us with massive drilling machines, and you see the photos of Derinkuyu as well. They was incredibly sophisticated. So, just getting that ground, and only 20,000 people live there. So you can assume the actual people building it, there was a society that was smaller than that. You can assume. So we're not talking about what they say the Egyptians had when they were building the thing. You know, hundreds of thousands of slaves, or you know, they don't know slaves anymore, do they? But because I say to you repeatedly, with enough people you can do amazing things.
Yeah, of course. You know,
but you need enough people. We're not talking about a massive population though, and they were able to do this. So it would suggest that maybe they were more capable than we realise. A
lot more capable than we realised. Which kind of coincides with us having the same brain capacity for the last 250,000 years as well. So I'd argue that we probably had human civilisations on this planet going back most of that time period. We just lost them all.
Do you think about building Derinkuyu as well? Is the effort it would require, the organisation it would require, but also the making sure you don't dig, because again none of these areas have collapsed and it's still there. They knew well enough to build it in a way that they wouldn't sort of build onto each other. You know, you build one room, then you build another one bit too close.
In other words, they almost
knew
had
not to do that.
Yeah, they had a masters in engineering and architecture.
And radar, or some sort of ground penetrating method of knowing where they were.
If they understood engineering and architectural principles in order to not let underground cities collapse, I suspect they were a lot more intelligent than we've given them credit for. Very much so. In fact, I almost think that it's almost possible that we've had a global civilization of the scale of today at some point in that 250,000 years in the past.
We need to think of a good name for that. If it was some sort of lost civilization that we don't know. I don't know, we'll have to think of something. Disney would probably have a good name.
Like an island that disappeared in the Atlantic Ocean, maybe? Or
that's it, and we can name the ocean after it as well.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes, we're back to Atlantis. Please go and look at our other episodes. So, yeah, I actually think that... Right, I wonder as well, if this happened today, with our current technology, we're probably more susceptible to this than we ever have been.
Yes.
Because we are so reliant on our technology.
Yeah, they reckon a solar flare in the right direction can take out the entire satellite GPS navigation systems, which renders pretty much all of the military and everybody driving in their cars with sat-navs useless.
Well, yeah, I mean, 1859 was the largest recorded solar flare that hit us that we know about.
Okay.
And it's called the Carrington event.
And apparently
the scientists that saw it, Now this event knocked out, there wasn't really much power systems, but there were some. It knocked all them out. And there's a thing about the telegraph wires, you know, that you see in the westerns running along the railway tracks. Some of them can just combusted. They just burst into flames. There was so much electromagnetic energy that that wiring, private companies have been converting old military bases and old underground missile silos and all this sort of thing, have been converting them into salvation chambers or salvation homes or something. Is there an elite of people that know?
That are privy to information that the masses aren't privy to?